Hey, what is going on, you overreacting ogre pawn? I knew I would eventually get to the point where I was playing 4 Irida and 4 Arven in the same deck. It's gotten close a couple times, and I usually cut down to just 4 Irida or 4 Arven, but finally playing a deck that plays 4 of each, and it is this Weavile deck that's coming out in Shrouded Fable. Before we jump into it, though, got to give a big shout out to Dragon Shield, as always, for sponsoring me and everything I do here on the YouTube channel as a competitor, everything I do in the PokemonTCG space. I'm personally a huge fan of their matte sleeves, so be sure to go check those out, dragonshield.com. A link, of course, will be in the description, and you can use code AzulGG and get yourself a discount over there as well. So this Weavile, it's got that Hail Claw attack, 70 damage for 2 water energy. Discard all energy from this Pokemon. Your opponent's active is now paralyzed. So turn 1, we can attach to Sneasel, turn 2, evolve to Weavile, and then attach again, and then 70 plus paralyze our opponent's active Pokemon. Paralysis, by far the strongest special condition in the Pokemon TCG, not even close. But we do discard the energy from it, and we can't attach twice in one turn, so we got to get energy back onto our Weavile so we can continue our paralysis chain. And that's where this new tool card comes in, the Hourglass. At the end of your turn, if the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot, you may attach 1 basic energy card from your discard pile to that Pokemon. So we can go attach, attack, discard the energy, recover 1 from the discard pile back onto it with the Hourglass, and then next turn we can just attach for turn and then paralyze our opponent's active Pokemon again, and then trap it in the active, and then utilizing that alongside the Radiant Alakazam, we can move damage off the paralyzed Pokemon, and then right when we're about to KO the active paralyzed Pokemon, we can move the damage back onto it, knocking it out on our turn, so that way our opponent has to send up a new Pokemon that we can then paralyze and trap in the active once again. One problem I did come up with when creating this deck was, well, if they play a switch card and then KO our Weavile that has the Hourglass and our only energy on it, on our next turn we can't attack twice during the same turn, so we won't be able to attack unless we have some other form of energy acceleration. So I've included the Palkia V-Star in here to, at some point in the game, whether it be early or late in the game, accelerate some water energy onto Sneasels or Weaviles, so that way even if our opponent does get a KO and breaks a paralysis lock and KOs the Weavile that has the energy, we can still recover and maintain our paralysis lock moving forward. 2/2 B-Barrel lining here for some draw power. So yeah, like I mentioned, 4 Irida, 4 Arven. We got a lot of important tool cards in here, like the Hourglasses. I also play a Team Evolution because we are going so heavy on the Arven. We might as well get that involved. And Irida, of course, with so many water Pokemon in the deck, just kind of makes too much sense. So 4 Irida, 4 Arven. No hand disruption supporters. I don't think we'll need it if we're going to be keeping our opponent paralyzed locked, but of course I could see including some Ionos in here as well. This is just kind of my first take on the deck. 1 Boss's Orders to go alongside the 2 Counter Catcher. Of course, we have a lot of ways to find the item cards, and we do probably plan to fall behind in the early game, or when our opponent is able to break the paralysis lock in the mid game as well. They'll probably be able to get ahead in the prize exchange, because we don't plan on drawing prize cards super aggressively, just kind of at some point, more so than anything. So Counter Catchers will probably be live for most of the game, but you never know those situations you can get into the end game where you're going to want like just a consistent gust card like a Boss's Orders. So we got a Boss's Orders in here as well. 1 Turo. I do have 2 Switch in here, which are very easy to find with the Iridas and Arvens, but I was thinking probably we're going to want a way to get our Palkia out of play. So have the Turo in here to potentially do that, or even pick up our B-Barrel or Alakazam if those get trapped in the active as well. We might need to go up to like a 2nd Turo, or just increase the Switch count a little bit as well. We'll see about that. For the Pokemon search cards, we got a ton of them in here, as pretty much as we can have. And then we have the Irida on top of that. But yeah, 4 Nest Ball, 4 Buddy Buddy Poffin, and 4 Ultra Ball. So finding Pokemon shouldn't be a problem, hopefully, but so I could definitely see cutting back on this a little bit, probably cutting the Nest Balls down a little bit, not too sure. For energy finding, we got the Vessels in here. We do need to find our energy and get them to the discard pile decently aggressively. Mentioned the Counter Catchers already. For Pokemon / energy recovery, just have 2 Super Rod right now. I could definitely see us maybe needing to include something like a Superior Energy Retrieval, or even a energy retrieval itself, maybe just some more basic energies. We don't not draw prize cards not too aggressively. Like, I feel like we can draw prize cards fairly aggressively. We're doing 70 damage every single turn. We have the Hourglass to recover some energy consistently, and then of course manual attachments return through the 6 energy. We have 2 Super Rod to recover more energy back to the deck to continuously be attacking with the Weavile. The Palkia can get involved, of course, with the Star Portal. So I don't know if we really need any more energy recovery. This is definitely one of those things where I'm thinking about it, I've thought about it, but I actually need to like test with the deck to see if we can just get away with 2 Super Rod plus the 6 energy. We might need a little bit more, but this feels like a good starting point for sure. 2 switch cards, like I mentioned, and then we have the Hyper Aroma in here as the ACE SPEC. I mean, just being able to aggressively find our Weaviles and our B-Barrels and be more consistent at our setup seems to make the most sense to me. You could theoretically go an unfair stamp route, but I don't know how long it's going to be able to trap our opponent out of the game to begin with. I'd rather just set up and be consistent as opposed to try and be messing with our opponent with an unfair stamp. So I think Hyper Aroma makes the most sense for sure. Overall, the other ones, we can't find the Palkia V-Star with it, of course, but being able to find the Weaviles and the B-Barrels. Like I said, there's a ton of Pokemon search in here, so we could definitely maybe cut back on some of the Nest Balls or the Poffins. But yeah, Aroma seems to make the most sense to me as far as the ACE SPEC goes. I guess you could make an argument for Prime Catcher as well, though I could see a Prime Catcher being all right. One of Heavy Ball in here. We definitely need this. I mean, we play a 2-2 Palkia and a 2-2 B-Barrel, but it's that Radiant Alakazam that we can't really afford to prize. Yeah, we can't really afford to prize Radiant Alakazam, so we need to include that Heavy Ball to make sure we can find that at the prize cards. And of course, there's probably a ton of other situations where it could come up where it'd be pretty useful overall. And then I already mentioned the Hourglasses. That is our main form of energy acceleration to keep us paralyzing our opponents active. And then the 1 Team Evolution here as well. May as well include it. We play Evolutions and we play 4 Arven. So may as well get the TM Evolution in there, involved in there as well. I could even see playing maybe like a TMD Evolution for like the Charizard matchup, the Dragapult matchup. I could see that being pretty effective and worth including, but of course, another one of those things where I have to actually play with the deck to actually know how I feel about those matchups before I even consider making that adjustment. All right, that's it. So my first take on the Weavile coming out in Shrouded Fable. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know if there's any decks you want to see me make builds of, early builds of. Comment section down below. Catch you all in the next one. Peace.